What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. This is your Saturday afternoon news show with me, myself, and it is such a lovely day, lovely weekend, lovely weather outside, and we've got some lovely news to go alongside it as well. So very nice to see you all in the chat. Very nice to see everyone on TikTok as well. Let us know how you are all doing on this fine weekend and what your plans are, as well as we go through the topics of the day. We're going to be discussing United's potential fourth signing through the window in Mazraoui. A lot of journalists kind of jumping early on this. Is it true? Is it as close? There's a couple of other conflicting reports, so I definitely want to discuss that. Hence why we put done deal ? Because it feels like it's there, it's ready to be done, especially with everything that's going on with Wan-Bissaka at the moment. But maybe not. We might not get in Here We Go today. It might be the next couple of days, but we'll keep you updated on that. Also got a couple of quotes from Erik Ten Hag's interview on MUTV that I want to discuss, particularly about the young players and what he expects from them, what the demands are. So yeah, I'll chat about that. Kobbie Mainoo returns to Carrington next week. What's in store for him this season? Don't forget, it's going to be a first full season for Kobbie Mainoo, which we haven't had at all, apart from obviously when he's been with the under-19s, etc. But we haven't had a full senior year from him, so I'm very excited about that. And of course, it's Man United versus Liverpool tonight, so I'll give my own individual kind of opinion and what I expect, because we spoke about it yesterday, but it was more Sam and Shreyas who were giving their thoughts on it, and I kind of dabbled a little bit. But yeah, I want to give my full opinion on that game, what I expect from Liverpool, what I expect from certain individuals, and how it's, it's a tune-up match for when we play City in the Community Shield, because that's it then. The tour's done once we play Liverpool. I think people might be forgetting that, but yeah, the tour will be done. So then it's Community Shield, and then it's serious stuff like the start of the season against Fulham in the Premier League. We kick it off at Old Trafford, so you need to be ready for that game. And to be ready, you need signings through the door. You need, an impressive performance against Liverpool. Obviously, a win against City in the Community Shield would help with confidence and momentum, so that's what you expect. But I think it may be a bit of a rough ride in August, to be honest with you. Not to bring things down and be cynical or anything, but I just have like an inner gut feeling that it's going to be a tricky, bumpy start to the season, I would expect, given the way transfers and injuries, etc. For anyone wondering about the background, by the way, whether some people might not noticed, on TikTok you won't see it because I've got a green screen on, but for people on YouTube, you're thinking, what the fuck's going on here? It's plain as fuck. There's polyfiller in the walls. I'm like in the midst of decorating, and I'm getting all of that done basically for the show. So it's going to be all done up. It's going to be painted. It's going to be a full set basically. So that's being worked on at the minute. Obviously not done because it's just plain wall and there's fuck all behind me. But yeah, I am working on that, so that'll be done in the next couple of days. Much like the Mazraoui deal. So let's talk about that then. So we had Santi JFM, who I think he is a journalist for Marca, I'm pretty sure, and then his mate Hanif Burkane, I think it's pronounced. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but a couple of journalists, they seem to report a lot around United, but the credibility is a bit here and there. I personally believe this is a journalist who's trying to get the jump on it a little bit. Basically, he would have read reports. A lot of people do this on Twitter, and a lot of journalists do this. They really go in depth about a certain player or an article, and they will try get the jump ahead. And if it happens, they get given the green light then as if they're credible. But they're literally just kind of guessing that, because it seems like it's going to happen. They're like, oh, yeah. But anyway, he's saying Noussair Mazraoui to Manchester United is almost a done deal. Bayern Munich have authorised the defender to join United. He will fly by a private jet in the next days. If nothing changes, Mazraoui will have his medical on Tuesday. Erik Ten Hag wants Mazraoui for the Community Shield. Now, if there is some truth to that, you sat there thinking, oh well, what's the backline going to be? Because is Shaw not going to be ready for that game? Is he not going to be up to speed? So are you relying on a new signing to come in and be your starter for that game? That's a little bit weird to me. We also have the flip side of this, which is kind of the domino effects for this transfer to happen. And that, of course, is Aaron Wan-Bissaka to West Ham. And Florian Plettenberg, a journalist out of Germany, has just reported West Ham are pushing to finalise an agreement with Manchester United for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They are confident one will be reached in the next few days. So that's where we're at with the right back situation. I mean, we can pause the discussion for a couple of minutes and talk about Wan-Bissaka and how people feel about that, because I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that every United fan, and correct me if I'm wrong, is happy that Wan-Bissaka's going. Some people want to keep him. Some people think he's one of those kind of right backs that's not a jack in the box. I feel that's a little bit disrespectful, but he just has something that a lot of right backs don't have, and that is he just can't beat the guy. You know, put him up against fucking Neymar, put him up against Mbappe, Sterling, Saint Maximum in the final, of course. Like, there's been so many situations where he's put the shackles on some of the most skillful players in Europe, and that is a quality that can't be overlooked. And it's obviously why West Ham want to sign him. Now, I'm a little bit not confused, but Lopetegui is the manager of West Ham now. It's not David Moyes. So if this signing was made under David Moyes, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. For Lopetegui, I don't know. It doesn't strike me as a Lopetegui player, but they're obviously seeing the value in it, and if they can get, I don't know, what's being reported, like 10 plus 5 in add-ons for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, when we bought him a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, whatever it was, for 50 million quid, they're doing some good business. And just West Ham in general, I don't know if there's any West Ham fans in the TikTok or even in the YouTube right now. The business they're doing at the minute, by the way, fantastic business. Really, really good. I'm not sure what's happening with Somerville. I think Sam mentioned before in the chat that he's failed his medical, apparently. But he's a promising player. He's been really good in the Championship for Leeds. You've got Fulkrug, who looked incredible in the Euros. Even some of the United fans at the time in the chat and guys in our group were saying we'd probably take him as like a backup to Rasmus, because he's just one of those pure brute of a striker. He's decent, and he's been decent for Germany and for Dortmund as well. Not Dortmund. Is it Dortmund? Yeah, Dortmund, isn't it? Who else have they signed? And they could get Wan-Bissaka, and they've signed someone else as well. I can't think who else it is. So, look at them at the start of the season, and you're like, that gap from like top 4 to top 6 to top 8 to top 10 almost next season. I remember Rangnick saying when he came as interim manager at Manchester United, talking about how competitive the league is. And he spoke about like, it's so different to Germany, because when a Bayern Munich plays, I don't know, a Wolfsburg or Stuttgart or something like that, it's like competitive-wise, it's nowhere near. They'll slap them like 4-5-0. Whereas in England, you play someone at the bottom table, and Everton or someone like that, like it's always a difficult game every single time. So that the competitiveness now of the Prem is right up there. The toughest league in the world by a fucking country mile. Right, let's see what all you lovely people are saying in the comments. Right, let's have a look. Bit indifferent on this signing, says Sean. I agree, Sean. I'm with you on that, mate. Hi, mate. How's you, Nick? I'm very well, thank you, Dan. Thank you for tuning in, mate. I hope you're good as well and enjoying your weekend. McMillan, I fully understand this signing. He's attacking, can play right back, left back. Also, he's a good backup to Dallow and Shaw. Clearly, United want to keep a doorway open for Amas development. Morning, afternoon, evening, where everyone is. It's 12 o'clock, well, just past 12 where I am. I know you're in Bangkok, Sean, so I'm guessing it's like 6 over there or something. Mazraoui fits the style and structure we want to play on, like Wan-Bissaka. Love Wan-Bissaka, but he looks like Bambi on ice going forward sometimes. Random guy saying Fulkrug is a great signing. Sean saying I haven't seen much of Mazraoui, but I can't say I'm excited about this one like I would be for De Ligt or Uwate. Fulkrug, the quintessential. What we're saying in TikTok as well. Thank you for everyone dropping a follow and sharing the live and interacting. We've got Bumbles Footy saying hello. So nice to have so many people on a Saturday tuning in. Really appreciate every single one of you. Get your football's opinions in, whether it's United related or not. Transfers are hot at the minute. So yeah, any kind of opinions you have on them or any comments you want to make, please do. I'm going to dive into some quotes from Erik ten Hag. He's done an interview on MUTV. And I thought there was a specific quote that was interesting about the youngsters coming through the academy and how they're going to integrate into the squad and what he expects from them now, what the demands are. And he says, what I want to see from young players, of course, that should be normal. That should be the foundation, that you have the energy, that you have the right focus and that you have the right spirit. But also what I want to see here is that they use their brains, because that is necessary to enter the pitch at Old Trafford, to enter the Premier League, to enter the Champions League, and to match the standard to get into the right levels. I do think we have a lot of young talent at the moment, probably most exciting in the league, or one of them, in terms of what's coming through the academy. There's a couple of other teams who've got, City have obviously promoted some really good, like Oscar Bob, Palmer of recent. You've got Chelsea, who've got quite a few exciting academy prospects, and there's a couple of others in the league as well. But I do think we have a decent amount. You look at us winning the league last season, under 18. Did you do the double? Was it like the FA Cup as well, or some? Not FA Cup. I can't remember what it was, but they won a double, didn't they? And a lot of exciting prospects in there. I just mentioned someone like a Harry Amas. Kobbie Mainoo came through last season. Toby Collier. You got like quite a few individual players. And that's very, very exciting if you surround them with the right people. Now, I do think you have to limit your expectations to a certain degree, because not every player that comes through the academy is going to be Kobbie Mainoo. He's a phenomenal talent who has skyrocketed to the top of football within like 6 months. Now, if your expectation is that with every player, expectations can crush a player, So I have no issue with the player coming in like Toby Collier, who could turn out to be a very good squad player, like a McTominay, for example. Every team needs Darren Fletcher's, John O'Shea's. People obviously love the superstars, they love the Garnachos and the Cobbies and the Ronaldos and the Rooneys, but it's a squad at the end of the day, and every person plays their role. So not every young player that comes into United is going to be a superstar. So limit your expectations a little bit. I saw an interesting stat before in United, which I thought, yeah, I love that. This is exactly what we're about, and it goes back to the Busby days, the Busby Babes, sorry, not the Busby days, or the Busby days, whichever way you call it. But like, this is heritage. This is what we've done for decades and decades and decades. But listen to this stat. Manchester United have given more minutes to teenagers than any other club in the Premier League last season. Youth, courage, success. Never forget that, people. He also goes on to say, this year we want to win another trophy. Of course, in his first year, won the Carabao Cup. Then he won the FA Cup. So what is next in line? If he wins another trophy this year, here's a question I want to pose to you guys, right? Because you're very smart people. You're intelligent. You're not stupid. You're not thick. So answer this question for me. If we won another trophy this season, but we finished, I don't know, 5th to 6th, let's say. Let's say we win the Europa League, but we finished 5th or 6th, and there's a clear style and a clear pattern that we can see, and it's progressing, and it's exciting. Would you accept that as a United fan? Yes or no? And I'll come back to that question in a moment. Also, another question for you is, do we have enough depth, and will Erik ten Hag rotate in these competitions? Because last season, that was one of the red flags for us as United fans. Ten Hag would never, ever rotate. And it was a similar thing at Ajax. He got criticised loads for it. He'd be stubborn. He'd stick with the same lineup. He'd play, even if they got injuries, he'd still play him. And it was annoying a lot of people. Well, this season, it's slightly different because you've got a lot more options. You take Rasmus off, you've got Xerxes who can fill in there. Wingers were absolutely fine. You've got Garnacho, you've got Rashford, you've got Ahmad, you've got Anthony, you've got Sancho. So depth-wise, that's not even an issue there. For the 10, you've got Mason Mount and you've got Bruno. So you can rest Bruno in certain games. Kobbie Mainoo is interesting because I'm like, okay, well, who is going to be his replacement? Even if you bring in Uarte, Casemiro's probably going to stay. You've got 2 options there for your 6. You've got 2 options for your 10. But what about Mainoo? When he needs a rest, when he needs to be taken out, who's going to play there? Are you going to drop Mount deeper? Are you going to drop Bruno deeper? Or are you going to bring in someone like a Rabiot, let's say, for example? That I'd be okay with, but I do think he needs rotation there, because, again, you don't want to overplay Mainoo. Mainoo only played, from November last season, so we didn't play a full campaign, should I say. But yeah, let's get into the comments. Dave saying yes, but that Champions League plays via League or Europa is vital. Very good point. A lot of people saying yes on TikTok. What we're saying? 1 second. Tadibo to Juve for £22 million, loan with an option to buy, gutted. 22 million. Wow. That is crazy. That deal would have been done if fucking UEFA weren't absolute idiots. Dan saying top 4 in Europa League, FA Cup would be a good season. Bring Uarte on loan and spend big on Wharton next summer. Very interesting. Building an ex-Ajax team is stupid. Mazraoui getting benched for midfielders in his position for Bayern. It's stupid. Wan-Bissaka 3 times the player. Very strong comments from Ashton there. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's like, not a lot of people are convinced on Mazraoui. They're not. And I get it. I understand. Now, I mentioned Kobbie Mainoo before. He returns to training next week. So he returns to Carrington, next week. Andy Mitten put that out on Twitter before. And as I said, we haven't had a full season of Kobbie Mainoo yet. We was expecting big things in pre-season last year. Obviously picked up that injury against Real Madrid and he's out. Very similar to Yoro right now. Don't forget, Yoro's going to come back similar time towards the end of October, start of November, if his rehab goes okay and all that kind of stuff and his physiotherapy. So very similar. And I think they could have a similar impact. I think Lenny Yoro at centre-back is a generational talent almost. I think he's that good. But with Kobbie Mainoo, you're going to have a full season with him. People forget he's 19 years old, this kid. The rise that he had, I mention this quite a lot because I think it's understated. What he done last season, I mean, I want to say October, I think he was playing like under-19s Copenhagen in Europe. So to go from that to being one of United's best players, scoring some of the goals that he did against Wolves in that last minute, which was fucking just like a messy goal, scoring the goal against Liverpool, scoring a goal in the FA Cup final when you're from Stockport against Manchester City, massive moment, which basically won us the game. Then to go to the Euros with England, then to become a mainstay in that team and get to the final. It's incredible, his rise. And that's why I was saying before about the young players, like, you need to limit your expectations just a little bit because not every player is going to turn out to be Kobbie Mainoo. So what are we all expecting from Mainoo this season? He's 19. So he's going to get better. That's the mad thing. And do we expect him to stay at Manchester United for a long time? Because with someone like Alejandro Garnacho, you're like, I can definitely see Garnacho at Real Madrid. Maybe not as much now because, I mean, they've got Vinicius, they've got Rodrigo, they've got Mbappe, they've got Ibrahim Diaz. They've got loads of youngsters there. So the pathway isn't as clear. But you can vision Garnacho, can't you, in a Real Madrid shirt. Whereas Mainoo, I'm like, let's just keep him until he retires. I know that's unheard of anymore. Your Paul Scholeses, your Gary Nevilles. But if we could keep him for the rest of his career, like, oh, please. Because by the time this kid turns 26, 27, he is going to be cooking. He is going to be, oh man, honestly, what a player he is. And I'm very, very excited to see how he's going to perform in our midfield next season. And hopefully he's ready for the first couple of games because we've got City. Whether he's going to play in that game, I'd probably doubt it at this point. I don't know. I mean, we play him in a week today, don't we? And he's not even back in training yet. So I'd be surprised if he started. Maybe he'll come off the bench. But then you've got Fulham, you've got Liverpool. You've got a couple of tough games in August. So let's hope he's fit and firing. Likewise with Alessandro, Bruno, and a couple of others as well. I'm not sold on Ligt, to be honest. How come he came and went to Juventus so quickly and now at Bayern as well? There seems to be an underlying issue with him. So, I mean, I've explained this before on a show, but I'll talk about Ligt a little bit. So, he was a golden boy. I think he's the only defender to win the golden boy in history, I think, from what I remember. Obviously, you've had ones who won Ballon d'Or and stuff in Cannavaro, but he won the golden boy, so there's a lot of expectation on his shoulders when he was at Ajax, captained them at a very young age, got him to a Champions League semi-final, and then rightfully got him a move to Juventus for, I think they paid €60 million or something. So it's like, right, this is what happens with Ajax. They get him to a certain level, and it's like, right, De Jong to Barcelona, De Ligt to Juventus. And when he went to Juventus, they had a change of 3 or 4 coaches, I think. So they had Sarri, Allegri, Pirlo, and someone else. So 3 or 4 different managers in his time whilst he was there. They had gone from being so dominant in the league and winning Scudettos every single year to being very, very shaky. And they also had Bonucci and Chiellini, who were, aging a bit. They weren't as open-minded to De Ligt coming in and being this new centre-back. He struggled a little bit with a language barrier. So there was some... It's not all De Ligt's fault in that sense. Didn't work out the way Juventus fans thought. So then he moves to Bayern Munich. And what does he have at Bayern Munich? Very similar issues. Change of managers, change of people upstairs, no structure, no consistency. And actually, in his first season at Bayern Munich, he was actually really, really good. And you've seen the way Bayern Munich fans have spoken about him. And they've said, they don't want him to leave. They think he's a quality centre-back. They don't understand why Bayern Munich is selling him. So when you read into it, I'm like, I don't think it's a bad deal. I think maybe it's a little bit of a gamble, but again, it's a coach who made him the player that he is. You know, he's adamant on joining United, so he would love to join the club, and he's going to start a lot of games. The injuries are another concern, but he's also willing to take a wage cut as well. So them instant red flags that I got with Ligt were kind of put to sleep a little bit from the stuff that I read, from things that I saw. And I think it'd be a good centre-back for United. I think it could potentially be that Ligt and Lisandro could be our starting centre-backs. And that's the way it could go. How people feel about that, I don't know. Random Guy has just gifted another Real Reds Talk membership. Thank you very much. And Denton Angus was gifted that. So hopefully you enjoy that. We did release a video yesterday on Chido Obi Martin, United's next youngster talent. He's a striker, 16 years old, and he's been absolutely murdering it for Arsenal. So yeah, that was the latest membership video. And of course, we try to get one out every single week for you guys. So appreciate every single one of you. As always, went off on a bit of a tangent there under Ligt, but I appreciate people's concerns. I'm not putting them to bed. Now, we play Liverpool tonight, South Carolina. I think 1:45 kickoff. Not as bad as the Real Betis one. That was 3 in the morning, and it's the weekend, so I'd expect a lot more people to kind of stay up for this and watch the game. Shreyas and Sam spoke about this in depth yesterday, how they feel it's going to go. I didn't really give my opinion on it, so I just wanted to finish the show with that and get your guys' opinions on it as well. How will we set up? I think Liverpool have been impressive in pre-season. They've actually looked really good under Arne Slot. And I think a lot of people are writing them off because they haven't signed anyone yet. But I actually think Liverpool are going to have a good season, contrary to what a lot of people think. I think if you can keep Trent, Van Dijk and Salah all on board, which are going to be expensive contracts to tie down, obviously they're the 3 most important senior players. So that'd be interesting to see. If we manage to do that and then they add a bit of talent and depth in there, I think Liverpool could be cooking again next season. I like Arne Slot as a coach. I think he's good. And they've looked really good in pre-season. They've beat Arsenal, they've beat Betis, and they're playing nice football. So I actually think tonight will be our toughest game of pre-season. I think they could potentially play us off the park a little bit. But this game now, like I said, it's the last game of pre-season. So this is your tune-up match for the Community Shield. So any player who wants to start the season and wants to get a bit of momentum, this is your last time to encapsulate the coach and be like, yeah, this kid needs to start. Someone like Ahmad, for example. And I'm looking at that City game that's on the horizon in a week's time, and I'm like, I don't know who's going to start that game. I don't know who's going to be. I don't know. If I was to, I think I did a prediction yesterday, but I don't know if that was for the Fulham one. It's going to be Maguire, Lisandro, Dalot, Onana. Foot knows who's going to be playing at left back. Don't have a clue. Maybe Mazraoui, maybe Amas, maybe Shaw will be fit enough, but he's not even back in training yet. And there's been no reports of that either. I haven't seen anything on that. Midfield, Casemiro's definitely going to start, which gives me concerns already. I don't know if Mainoo's going to be ready. So will it be Mount? And then Bruno will probably play because he's just an industrious player, innit? Like, he's just robust. And then I don't know, is Rashford still going to be injured or is he going to be available? In which case, do you start Garnacho on the right or do you put Ahmad there because he's been playing so well? So it's hard to predict. And that's something you don't really want for the start of the season. You want clarity, you want consistency, and you want to know what your starting 11 is. Now, United aren't the only team who will have these kind of issues because the Euros put a dint in that for a lot of players coming back late, not training with the team. So we're not the only one. I'm not, I'm not saying cry me a river, but I am worried. I think it's going to be a bit of a turbulent start to the season. I think eventually we get a couple of players back and we get some players through the door and they get used to the team. I think September, in my opinion, from then on, I think you'll see it'll be confidence, but I think August is going to be a bit rocky. Tiger UK in the chat saying, afternoon all, welcome Tiger, hope you're well mate. Dan saying, yes, I'll be watching it, reckon it'll be a tough game, but I'm saying 2-1 win. Are you watching it, Nick? I am, yes. I'm going to be watching it. Yeah, for sure. McMillan saying, could we also get Chalobah on loan? I know this may sound controversial, but Gallagher at Chelsea is available for 30-odd million. Was good for Chelsea last season. Could be a decent squad player. Well, one thing on Gallagher is Chelsea don't want to sell to a Premier League club. It's because Tottenham are interested in him, and that's why they want to sell. They're basically pushing him out the door to sign for Atletico Madrid because they need the money for financial. And, they're doing the same thing with Chalobah. I think it's a bit disgusting, to be honest, the way they're treating him. I wouldn't take Gallagher at United, personally. I don't think he's... I think a very work-hard player. He's a Simeone type of player. I can see why Atletico Madrid would sign him. 1,000,000%. We should get top 4 with a few more reinforcements coming in, but realistically, Sir Jim is spot on about a few windows to start the squad. Callum Huddleston saying, brilliant news, 2-1 United. My prediction is against Liverpool. Come on, United. Seems like a lot of people are excited for it. And a lot of people are in good moods, should I say. Now, we've got 5 minutes left of the show. So this is your section to discuss whatever you want. Could not even be football related. If there's any questions or any topics that I haven't covered in the show, or literally anything you want to discuss for the last 5 minutes, put it in the chat. And we'll have a chat about it. Same thing with people in TikTok as well. Make sure you drop us a follow if you can on socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for regular updates. And also subscribe to the channel. We're on 6,314 subs currently at the minute. Yeah, if you aren't subscribed to Real Red Talk, then what are you doing? Join the community, people. We might as well keep McTominay if we're swapping for Gallagher. Yeah, exactly. United, I want Ugarte, Ligt, Mazraoui, and Fabian Ruiz. I'd love Fabian Ruiz. What a fucking player he is, by the way. But yeah, I mean, PSG are cooking in that midfield now, aren't they? They've got Coutinho, who I think is a top player. Really love how he recycles possession. Love how he takes the ball under pressure. He can navigate through midfield really, really well. Can break the lines. Top player. Then they've got Fabian Ruiz, who's an unbelievable player, as we saw in the Euros. And then they've got João Neves as well. Oh, it's just crazy. And some youngsters there, they're cooking in that midfield. And I think the projects that Luis Enrique is setting up, is these youngsters that he's getting in there. And maybe a lot of people are like, oh, Mbappe's gone now. I think they're going to get better. Would Rabiot on a free or Ugarte on a few pound be better for us? I think both, ideally, Dave. Yeah, I think we need both. I think we need Ugarte to be our starting 6 because I don't want Casemiro to be our starter. I think his legs are starting to go. I think he does these last-ditch tackles that I cringe in a game when I see it. I think he's very wild with the ball sometimes. He's risky. And when he's high up the pitch, he hasn't got the legs to cover back. Casemiro worries me. So I would love Ugarte, but then I would also love Rabiot because I think Rabiot would be a very good player to interchange with Kobbie Mainoo as the midfielder. And to Rabiot, I know he would probably want to move to United, but it depends on game time because Mainoo has to be a starter in that midfield. And is he going to come in and be like, yeah, that's fine for a 19-year-old to start ahead of me. I'll just play when you need me in cup games or whatever. So that in itself makes it a difficult deal to do, but I think we need both. Tiger, Ugarte is the destroyer we need in there. I agree. Energetic, can break up play, decent on the ball. He's a little bit wild as well, though. So that's something that would concern me a little bit with Ugarte. But he's definitely robust, definitely energetic, and the type of profile we would need, I'd suggest. Nick, have you done any Euro and Xerxes signing songs yet for Old Trafford? Well, the Xerxes one, you've got the classic Liberty X, haven't you? The Xerxes, everything about you so Xerxes. You don't even know what you've... And I need something for the second part of that. We'll work on it. And then what was the other one? Euro. Euro. I was trying to think of this before. I was like, what song has a hook that sounds like Euro? And the only thing I think of, I don't know if anyone remembers this song, Orson, No Tomorrow. You can fit Euro in there. That's a classic tune, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. We'll work on him. Yeah, I'm sure you'll see videos of me in Old Trafford getting his chance started. Dan Fenton saying, great work. You lads do love the channel. The update's top work. Smash the likes from people and subscribe. We need Ugarte. Are you doing a 7 p.m. show, mate? So no, today is the only day I won't be doing a 7 p.m. show. It's because I'm going out for a comedy night and some food and stuff. So what we're going to do is the members video that we put out yesterday, we're going to release that for the public at 7. So if you're not a member, then obviously you can watch that then. And that kind of be unlocked, if you will. Rabiot has turned us down in the past so he can jog on. I think his mum had a big part in that as well. But he's a free agent now, so he can go wherever. His name is Euro. Go Cabana. Yeah, I can see that. Tiger with the creativity. Absolutely. Song by Foo Fighters. There goes my hero. We can sing There Goes My Euro. And if you're going to use hero, you could, I need a Euro. But then that's Casemiro's chanting it. It's Casemiro. He's a Brazilian hero in the red and white. He's gotta be fast and he's gotta be strong. I'll tell you what, those songs out of Shrek, that has got Shrek, right? Completely going off topic and on a tangent, but Shrek has got the best soundtrack out of any film, I would say. Probably Interstellar's up there with like the music but in terms of like perfect Shrek, honestly, man, they've got some absolute belters on there. Probably not what you're tuning in, people, for anyone who's just tuning in live, but who cares? It's the last 5 minutes of the show, innit? So we discuss whatever the fuck we want. But yeah, I can see Song by Foo Fighters. I can't remember how that There Goes My Heroes. I actually like Foo Fighters as well. I can't think how the song goes off the top of my head. But yeah, look, I'll leave it the creativity to you guys. We'll create a song together and we'll get it booming at Old Trafford. I think there's plenty of wiggle room with Yoro and Xerxes and a lot of the other players. So yeah, if you are just joining on TikTok, please do smash the like on the video for us and subscribe to Real Reds Talk. Yoro to Hello Beat by Dr. Dre. Is that Eminem? Hello. Hello. Allow me to introduce myself. His name is Doom Doom Doom. So nice to meet you. Mazraoui Kamara says, I'm from Sierra Leone. Great news. We need to let go of Sancho. Well, thank you very much for watching from Sierra Leone. I love that when you see people from all across Europe and the world and joining in and putting in their opinion. That is what we love. And please do subscribe, Mazraoui Kamara. Appreciate that. And yeah, Sancho, going to be a tricky deal to do. I don't see him going personally. I think he stays for another season. If he can push into the team, great. His value goes up. I think his value may plummet as well. So, yeah. Right, I shall leave it at that, people. It is a Saturday afternoon news show. Hopefully, you guys have got some plans over the weekend and you're going to watch United tonight and we can all discuss it tomorrow because that's what it's going to be a part of the Sunday 12 o'clock, Sunday social, should I say. We'll be discussing the Liverpool game in depth and all the latest news surrounding Manchester United. So, yeah. Turn on that notification bell, subscribe to Real Reds Talk, and I will check you guys out in the next one. Charlie saying, do you reckon it'd be a big season for Garnacho? Him and Mainoo, both. Absolutely.